This is a golden opportunity for the Panthers. With injuries on both sides of the ball, Carolina could potentially bring a player back to his home state to help out with their pass rush. Could Alex Highsmith become a Carolina Panther? What's going on, guys? It is Tanner Blue with Carolina Panthers Digest Media. Hope you are doing well. Happy Friday, everyone. We have made it to the weekend. And shout out to all the fans that are going to be going to FanFest this evening. At the time I'm recording this video, FanFest is going to be a lot of fun for the guys in Charlotte. We hope there are no injuries. Please, we cannot take any more. But let's not talk about injuries today. We're not going to talk about it. We're going to talk about something different, a hypothetical trade that could potentially go down, a player that's been rumored, and a player that I know personally that I would love to see here in his home state of North Carolina, playing for his hometown team, the Carolina Panthers. Guys, before we begin today, please make sure to like and subscribe. We've hit over 200 subscribers. Thank you so much for doing that. We want to continue to grow this channel as we go into the first week of the preseason next week, covering training camp and getting to the regular season. So it is vital that you like and subscribe so you get all the updates whenever I make videos. So thank you so much for doing so. So let's talk about a guy that's on the Pittsburgh Steelers, Alex Highsmith. Born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina, right where we are today, where I'm from. Could he be a Carolina Panther? There are some rumors going around, some people mocking this trade, Alex going to different teams. Where could he potentially go? And one of those teams is the Carolina Panthers. So I want to take a look at an article here that is on Sports Illustrated by Mr. Jack Markowski. Thank you, sir, for providing this article. Let's take a look. Give me just a second, and here we go. So in this article, there are 3 trades mocked that the Steelers could use to help the Panthers out. But I want to focus on this one because I think this is the most crucial. So after signing Nick Herbig, excuse me if I'm saying that wrong, to a 4-year, $100 million extension in June, while TJ Watt enters the first official season of his 3-year, $123 million deal he signed last offseason, Alex Highsmith's future with the Steelers has become quite murky. The 28-year-old has always been buried a bit on Pittsburgh's depth chart from the standpoint of being the team's number 2 option off the edge behind Watt when he's capable of holding down a number 1 role. So, talking about Alex Highsmith potentially being traded to the Carolina Panthers, obviously we know pass rush is in need with the injury of Nick Scorton. This is something that could really benefit the Panthers. You know, you talk about a player like Smitty, just knowing him personally, he's a guy that is high character. He's got a high motor. He's got an intense work ethic, and he's a damn good football player. He really is. So it would be exciting to see him, put on the Panthers uniform. Growing up being a Panthers fan himself, and just being able to play for your hometown team. I mean, what other situation could you ask for? And you're being put in a spot where you have the potential to be the number 1 or number 2 option for your football team in terms of the defense and getting to the quarterback, because we all know Nick Scorton going down with an injury was unfortunate, but the Panthers, what are they going to do next? Are they going to rely on their young guys, Princely Umama-Yellen, maybe a free agent to come in, a veteran to come in? Those are certainly options, but if you're looking for a potential long-term fix, Scorton comes back, you get all these guys in the mix, it's better to have too many options than not enough. The only thing I could see is the contract. Alex is in a 4-year, $100-something million or $68-something million contract. I know it's up there. So I believe he's got 2 years left on that deal starting this season. So he's in the back half of the deal. How could that work cap-wise? I know the Panthers have become a little bit better at managing their cap under Dan Morgan and some of those guys in the front office. So it could certainly be interesting to look at in terms of the numbers. Is this something that the Panthers could pull off? Let's take a look at the rest of the article here. Let's see. Shelling out a massive amount of money to keep him while Herbig and Watt are under contract for the next 5 and 3 years, respectively, just isn't practical for the Steelers, and the Panthers desperately need another edge rusher to pair with Jalen Phillips, who they signed in free agency this offseason after Scorton went down. A North Carolina native who attended Charlotte, Highsmith is a perfect fit for the Panthers. Pittsburgh would likely want a second rounder for him, and perhaps the Panthers would meet the price tag while also handing him a new deal. So, you're taking a look at a second-round pick for a a very valuable pass rusher, someone who is in his prime, someone who he's got 2 years left on his deal. You get him, you could sign him to another deal after that. So it is certainly something to look at. If the Steelers are asking for a second-round pick, that's tough. It's tricky. I know the Panthers under Dan Morgan value their picks. They don't like to trade picks away, so they really do value picks. Could I see a second-round pick if the Panthers were desperate? Yes. Do I think the Panthers could try to work that down to maybe a second-round pick a year or two from now? I could maybe see something like that happening, but I feel like the Panthers are very cautious with their picks. So I'm not sure if that would work out with the draft capital. But in terms of getting Alex as a player, it would be phenomenal. He's one of the better young pass rushers in the league. He's entering his prime. Guy's a hard worker. He's from Charlotte. He's ready to rock and roll. He's going to be a hard worker. Let's take a look at some of the stats and try to back some of this stuff up and see if this would be a great trade for Carolina. As we pull up these stats here, Alex Highsmith, last year had a few tackles here, a few solo tackles here, 38 and 45. He also did have, about 10 sacks there, so he was ranked number 12th in the National Football League in terms of sacks, and to me that is the big number. I apologize, might have been looking at the numbers wrong there, but he had 10 sacks last season. To me, that is huge because that is where the Panthers are really falling behind in terms of the pass rushing game. You've got a guy like Smitty who can come in and be able to play these games. Yes, he's had some injury issues here and there. He only played 13 games last season, which isn't terrible. But the guy had 9.5 sacks. He had 10 sacks. The Panthers need that type of production coming off the edge, especially with Nick Scorton not being there. And you can see the stats. I might have listed them wrong there. 50 tackles total, 36 solo, and a forced fumble to add to it. So really a valuable player that the Panthers could add to their roster. To me, it's going to come down to not necessarily the contract that they would be taking on, but to me, it depends on the what they're going to want in return. A second-round pick, knowing Dan Morgan at this point in his tenure, I don't think he would be willing to give up a second this year, maybe a second in 2028 or something down the line, or maybe a third round or a few later round picks down the road. I could see something like that, but I don't know if they would give up a second-round pick. But if I was the GM, I would love to see it because I know Smitty personally. He's a great guy. He's a great character. And like I said, what would be better than having a guy playing on his own, his favorite football team, a state he grew up in? That would be a dream come true. So this is something I would like to see the Panthers explore. I would like to see Dan Morgan potentially make a call and just see, hey, let's talk to me. What are you looking for? This could certainly help the Panthers pass rush because one thing I don't want them to do is to just go into this upcoming season with just relying on what they have on the roster. Not saying that those guys can't produce, but I think you'd rather be safe than sorry. Bring in a veteran, trade for someone, you have to find an alternative. You can't just leave it up to the guys on the roster. I think you have to be competitive and try to find guys to at least a stopgap or someone that maybe can be here for a few years. It is unfortunate to lose your job to injury, but you got next man up. You got to find guys. You got to play the season. So this is a really great potential trade. This is something I'll keep my eye on, something that I'm really interested in. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you're going to FanFest, enjoy yourself. We'll be reporting and talking about that tomorrow and over the weekend. Hopefully some good updates there, and guys are showing out in training camp. As always, keep pounding, and we'll see you on the next one.